I know I'm back already with another video. This one is back to a little bit of gaming, but I did want to quickly talk about it. The Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater remake. I know it came out like last year, and I've absolutely
Listen up,
loved
Jack.
this
Your
game
mission is to
so
infiltrate
much.
City Number.
But I've seen a lot of hate from people online about this remake, specifically from Metal Gear Solid fans.
We don't get so
And
off
so,
track before
you
the
know, I'm
quest
a
is
newer
complete.
school
We'll be
fan. I
facing a
mean, the
major
very
crisis.
first Metal Gear Solid I ever ended up playing was actually Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. It was like a free game of the month on Xbox One. And so I
Once we've
tried it
confirmed the
out
rescue, Sir
and I
Bob.
absolutely loved it. Okay. And that just from that moment on, I was bought and I couldn't wait to play the Phantom Pain when it came out. I ended up getting it for Christmas that year and I absolutely loved it. Spent hundreds of hours in it on that one and on a PlayStation version, and I couldn't wait for Metal Gear Solid Delta. And the graphics, man, they do look absolutely stunning. I mean, look at this, even in the cutscenes and out of the cutscenes. That's one of the things I want to talk about, man. A lot of hate for this remaster I've seen, and a lot of people have been saying, like, oh, they played it too safe. It's too much like that PS2 version. They didn't add in any of the stuff, you know, whenever they're like, Konami had so much stuff on the cutting room floor that they got rid of or left out. Like, it's only like, he said like 70% of it or something like that actually made it into the game, and a lot of it didn't make it, especially since originally Metal Gear Solid Delta or Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater was supposed to be on the PS3, but it ended up being a part of the PS2 era. And so there's just some things I wanted to talk about with this game and kind of remakes in general, okay? Now, I know it's kind of a crazy thought to be like, oh, it should be expected, okay, that a game does look a lot better when it actually does come out as a remake on a new console. But how many remasters, how many remakes have we seen where the game looks arguably worse? I mean, the two big ones that I can really think of that come to mind for me is firstly Assassin's Creed and the Ezio Collection remasters, and even AC3. Absolutely ruined. But look at Snake here. Look at this and the attention to detail. Like, I'm sure you know that damage over time that you acquire onto yourself. The damage marks, the scars all stay. Same thing with like leaves. Like if I rolled around here in the leaves, it would end up being, the leaves would end up sticking to me if I were to somewhere like checking like the camo. See, even now, you see those little flakes of leaves falling off me? Like, the attention to detail in this game is truly so immersive and so impressive, I think. That I think there's just so much hate I've seen from the Metal Gear Solid community. And it's like also another remaster that I want to point out that I didn't really, I enjoyed it, but like the return to Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, those games barely looked any better. They looked practically the same. And so, then you end up with a game like this that looks so much better. It runs on Unreal Engine 5. Part of me wishes it ended up just using the Fox engine, even though the Fox engine, like this game does look damn near as good as MGS5 did, so it doesn't really matter that much. And then also, the other thing that I do wish is I wish it took a little more from MGS5. Okay, this is where I kind of get it played it too safe. Firstly, even in the new style being, why is Snake, look at him run. He's like jogging. He's not going at full speed and there's no sprint button. You play MGS5, you can sprint. Okay, another one is going to be the hold up, which I'll do in just a second, of just kind of like dragging someone. You can't drag someone, like you can't pick someone up over your shoulder and carry them and move them quickly like you can in MGS5. Another thing, you can't roll, like, here we go, let me just see if I were to press the roll button, all you do is you just keep on shimmying over. So, like, there are some things like that, but at least they did add other things like crouch walking and also just like the free camera. Like, as someone coming from Metal Gear Solid 5, I absolutely love it. I mean, this is everything I would have wanted in MGS3 Remake. Personally, like, I wanted it to play like MGS5. I'm one of those newer school fans. So, like, when I see a lot of these old schooler fans and they're like, you know, for them, it's not that good of a remake due to the fact that, hey, it is just like the MGS3 back in the old days. There's no actual changes. See, here's a good one. I've been in the mud. Now I'm absolutely covered in mud. That's what I meant by the everything travels with you. And it's so sick. It'll travel with you in the cutscenes. I mean, you can have the headgear also travel if you're wearing any sort of headgear. And as someone that had only played MGS5, Ground Zeroes, and Phantom Pain, like I ended up getting so addicted to the series, the franchise, and learning the lore that I knew a lot of the lore coming into this game, but I didn't know that much. Like I kept this game totally blind. I'd never watched any videos on the actual game before when I went into this one. And so it was just such a fun experience being able to experience everything for the first time. But there is something to be said that there are some small occasions where, yeah, it does remind you that you're kind of in a PS2 game. I mean, like you saw like the loading screen in between the zones. That does give you kind of like that stark reminder. Or like I said, some of the sprinting, the movement speed, some of the movement, it is a little like, oh, that doesn't really travel that well over into the new area. But like, see, I'm going to hopefully go up and get one of these guys. Oh, that guy's looking right at me. Let me just shoot him. This is another thing. The bullet drop. Let's look at the bullet drop. I think the bullet drop is too much. Like, look at that. I can't. Look at how high you have to aim above his head to actually hit him in the head. And that was carried over. It looks more like the bullet drop in Ground Zeroes. A YouTuber did mention that. Here we go. We can do a little bit of the dragging. See, Metal Gear Solid 5, you just throw him over your shoulder. In this game, you got to straight up drag him. And I do kind of like it. Like, you're not Venom Snake. You are Naked Snake. And this is early in his career, so you could kind of make the excuse or the idea that, hey, he's earlier in his career, he's not that strong, this is still early on. But still, I do sometimes wish that the movement was more Metal Gear Solid 5. But other than that, like, I do love the way this game moves. The cutscenes are absolutely beautiful. Graphically, this is a great fucking game. Come on, man, let's see what you got. And it's just when I think of a Metal Gear Solid 5 remake, or when I think of like a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake and what I wanted, like this is like pretty much what I wanted from it. Will let me hold him up? No? Oh, okay. Fuck. See, look at that bullet drop, man. It's so hard to aim. Now I know I wasn't doing the first person aiming, so I could have probably hit him a bit easier. But still, that's kind of my point. Here we go. Let's see if I can hold this guy up. And now I have been absolutely in love with this game. Like, I do have a Foxhound rank on this game. I've been playing this game like crazy. Let's fucking, you know what? Let's just, oh, I don't have a, well, then let's just take the suppressor off. Bang, bang, there we go. See, now I got the blood on me as the mud's dried off. Oh, fuck. And the CQC, bang, there we go. Where's this other fucker? Come here, buddy. Like, see, sometimes the AI is a little stupid, you know, and they're just kind of like letting me go around and CQC them, which is kind of funny. But overall, I do feel like it's a bit more hated than it should be, because just of the way some companies really do cheap out so hard on a remaster. I mean, this realistically, it could have popped out, and see, even in the cutscenes, the cuts travel. I was getting cut up there at the end, and now I'm cut up here. But a lot of remakes and stuff, they do cheap out on them. So I think Konami honestly did a great job. I do wish more of the stuff, though. It feels more like the game was, even though I know they said they lifted stuff from like the Phantom Pain and everything, it does feel like, though, they more lifted stuff from Ground Zeroes half the time. But that's not a bad thing. It really isn't. Okay, I really don't know how to hold people up in this game, man. It's one of the trophies I still don't have. Now, I will say maybe part of my love for this game does come from the fact that I didn't play MGS3 originally. Like, I do understand the idea of wanting more content, or for Konami to be even riskier with it. But you gotta remember, MGS3, it was supposed to go risky and be the first one. At least I think it was supposed to be the first one. If not, Kojima definitely said he didn't want to make this one, and this one was going to be the first one made by his team. And then his team got too worried to make it. That was unplanned. I did not plan on falling in the water there. Okay, but Bang, look at that move. And now, hopefully now I'll be able to actually crawl the way, man. Before that was retarded. But I just feel like there's been so much hate, at least when I've seen reviewers talk about this game or Metal Gear Solid fans talk about this game, I feel like I see a lot of hate for this game or just a lot of kind of like disappointment with it. When I'm like, how can you be so, I mean, some of the boss stuff they ended up fixing. I do understand the Fury place not being as dark and like scary-esque or horror-esque as the original. Oh, I forgot to hit the button. But I do feel like a lot of the systems, they still work just as good as they used to. I think this game does work perfectly fine still in its current state. I mean, that's something you know, another thing. But I do see some point, like, see, like, that guy just disintegrating automatically. Like, that's where it can kind of feel like a PS2 game again. And there's a couple moments where it does kind of get a PS2 feel to it, which those moments do kind of suck. And there are some moments where the stability does drop, like on the motorcycle section, for example. That section, that section has a lot of frame droppage, I feel like, where like I'm usually not one to really care about frame drops and everything and lag unless it's like really bad. So if I'm mentioning it right now, you know it's bad. Like, really. Oh, fuck. No, I'm not in the best spot. I still feel like if you are someone, I almost feel like the game was kind of made more for someone like me, someone who is a bit younger, whose very first kind of Metal Gear Solid was MGS5 or maybe even MGS4 or something, but probably more just like MGS5, MGS Ground Zeroes, because like it's been 11 years since the Phantom Pain dropped. So someone that's younger that has only played the MGS5, and also just like the older style, personally, it didn't appeal to me. Like, I didn't want to, I had considered buying like that boss collection where you can play MGS 1, 2, and 3, but it's built much more like the, you know what, let's just run through these fuckers, where it's built exactly like those older ones, and it is much more, I think they're HD remasters, like that's the like official name of them. And so I do think those ones, like something like that, like the old PS2 era with the old fixed camera angle and everything, for some people that they love that, and that's their Metal Gear Solid. For me, this is more my Metal Gear Solid, is a Metal Gear that's more like MGS5. That's what I honestly have grown up with. I've put tons of hours into it. So then being able to switch to this, and I mean, most of my complaints with this game are that it's not more like MGS5. I wish it borrowed everything. So honestly, if I had to say, is it worth $70 though, even though I've just been kind of saying how like, I think it's gotten too much hate for how samey it is and everything, and that it really is a good remaster for what a remaster is. And that is true. I do think all that. See, look, I just knocked the gun out of his hand. That's pretty sick. And just like little details like that. Like, I don't even think you can shoot a gun out of someone's hand in MGS5. Maybe I'm wrong about that and I'm remembering wrong. But is it worth $70 though? That is the real question. And my answer to whether it's worth $70 though is no. Even though I love this game, and I might honestly like this game more than I like MGS5 personally, just because as I've gotten older, the idea of a, see, like even now as I'm shooting, you can kind of maybe see the slight bit of lag that's going on as I shoot the gun. Like when a lot of particles, a lot of stuff is going on screen, it can still get a little messy with it. But is it worth $70? I'd say no, because you got to remember, this shit sold for $60 back in the day. And I know you can say inflation stuff. Video games shouldn't do inflation. I know that might be, I hope that's not a hot take to think video games shouldn't do inflation, but this shit was $60 back when Atari came out and everything, even more. And then the gaming industry said, okay, we'll meet you in the middle, we'll go at $60 and we're not moving off it. And so it's finally becoming a somewhat affordable medium, and now they want to try and charge more, $70 for a remake. They didn't have to hire new writers, they didn't have to hire new audio people or anything. This is what they were. Everything was already in place for them. It's just a graphical upgrade. So in that regard, I would say absolutely not. It's not worth $70, but I would highly recommend this game if it's on sale, especially if you're itching for stealth games. I'm a big Hitman guy. Those were kind of like, I'm really Assassin's Creed, if you want to count those. The older Assassin's Creeds were my first like stealth game intro. But then I really got into Hitman. And so when I'm itching to play a stealth game, I mean, recently MGS3 just is my go-to when I want to play a stealth game. It is so fun. And I just think it's a little too hated for me. That's just what I think, man. So let me know what you think. If you think that, hey, maybe I'm just too much of a new school fan that shouldn't really appreciate the graphical upgrade or the changes to make it more like MGS5, at least not as much as I should. But I think it really is just, it does this game absolute wonders. This is how I want to experience all the Metal Gears. Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, the OG Metal Gear 2. Also how I would want to experience MGS4 if they ever came to a point of doing a remaster. Like, this is just my kind of style. It's more modernized, and the modern way is the way I like to play the game. So let me know if you're in the same boat, how you honestly felt about this remake, because I think that there should be a bit more positivity, because if there's any chance of more Metal Gear in the future, they're obviously going to be going and doing the remakes at least first, because they know they're the easy money. And I want more. I want to see Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2, especially in this new modern style, and kind of see the rest, of course, because they all connect in the OG Metal Gears. They all connect back to Metal Gear Solid 5, and the fact that you're playing as the fake big boss that you kill in the very original stuff. So I just cannot wait. And also some of the other stuff that, like, it's not like it's a complete one-to-one remake. Like, some of the stuff they did change, like we'll see in this cutscene, if it doesn't take too long, is like the fact that, like, when the boss says, oh, it's raining blood, let's see if I skip it where it'll go. Will it just skip everything? Or, oh no, perfect. Like, when the boss says it's raining blood, it actually starts raining blood, unlike 3, where it just kind of rains harder and everything. And I just absolutely love this game. Everything about it. It's an absolute beauty. And most of the characters, I've seen people complain about, like, some of the character faces really taking them out of it. Honestly, to me, maybe I'm more of a casual gamer and I'm cool with it. But these graphics, I mean, all the characters, they look so incredible. They look like they have so much detail to them, especially when you know, like, it really is just building upon PS2 graphics, and, like, it's a good enough looking game. Just the bosses you see here in this cutscene. That's another thing when I was coming from MGS5 is, like, now I do think part of the thing that helped me love this game so much is the fact that it was my first time really experiencing it, and having a more fleshed out camo system that MGS5 didn't have, having actual bosses, and just so much about this game, man. I'm just like, man, I wish MGS5 got to experience its full vision, because this game, it's much closer to a Hideo Kojima full vision, and it's just like, oh man, I like what MGS5 could. I finally kind of understand, like, when MGS5 is your first one, you're like, man, this game's great, even with all the mistakes, but then you go back and play, like, MGS3, and I'm just like, oh my god, you really start to see all the much more missed potential that was there. See right here, with the it's raining blood, like, in the actual game on PS2, or even, like, the subsistence version, or even, like, I think even the HD remaster, it's not raining blood, it's just heavy rain, but she says it's raining blood. And I think it really adds to the atmosphere. I think outside of, like, the Fury making it bright, I honestly like that it's a little brighter. I don't like it completely pitch black. When it's like that, it honestly pisses me off. But I just feel like everything they did adds so much to the atmosphere with the graphical changes. I know some people like their piss filter and everything. I honestly don't mind the color changes. I like it looking more real. I think it just adds so much to the vibes of when you're actually going through the jungle, when it's not that yellowy piss color, bro. I don't get all the hate. I get some of the hate of maybe wanting a little more extra content, but I mean, at least they fleshed out a Metal... Now, I don't honestly care about the Metal Gear... It's not Metal Gear Rising, but the little Metal Gear game mode that's in it. when it's like the hack and slash. They did more work with that. I don't really care about it that much, but I just feel like there's still plenty of replayability where I get if you've been playing this game for like for 22 years now, and it's just like doesn't scratch the same itch that you kind of were hoping for. I can kind of get that, but I feel like for just your average gamer or someone who hasn't played the earlier ones, this is what you're looking for. But again, wait for a sale. This is not a MGS, you know, I wouldn't go full price. I mean, this game, at least get it on sale for like 30 or 40 bucks at most, because a full price for a remake, over full price, to me full price is 60. So over full price at $70 for this, or even now I do like the skins that they created, but the skins they created though, you gotta buy like some super extended edition, and that's just not worth it to me. So if you haven't played it or you really want to go back into this game, I think there have been quite a few too many haters on the remake. I do understand more of why they went safer with it, and I appreciate they did what they did. But let me know if I'm too much of a newbie, or if you also feel the same, that maybe some of these reviewers that have kind of shat on this game, you kind of don't agree with. Now, I do understand like some of the drop frame rates and stuff, especially when the particles are really going like I showed earlier. But other than that, like this game, it does a lot right to me.